Coming up on this week's FAS TV. We're starting the new series with a recap of this year's spring calving and lambing with farm vet Tim Gerraghty. Tim also has advice for livestock farmers for the summer months, including parasite control and bull management. And later we hear from Calum Simpson, the 2025 Young Farmer of the Year, about his involvement as a member of the Scottish Association for Young Farmers and his journey to being crowned Young Farmer of the Year.
I'm Tim Gerraghty. I'm one of the farm team here at Dunadeer Vets in Inch. So springtime this year I'd say was quite busy from a vet's perspective. We had the long-term trend for assisting at lambings and assisting at calvings is coming down, and that's great credit to the breeders that are really focused on easier calving genetics, both maternal and bull side. But this year we probably did see a little blip, so we were out more often to assist at lambings and assist at calvings, probably slightly increase in number of caesareans. It's worth just pausing, and we're now getting towards midsummer. It's worth reflecting on what's caused that, and it's not the same thing on every farm, but certainly if you have had a higher than your normal intervention rate this year, then look at those bull-cow pairings and are we getting that selection correct. Certainly thinking about nutrition through winter, speaking to a nutritionist well in advance of this coming winter, just to make sure that we get the energy, protein and mineral balance right. And something we've become much more common with us is doing metabolic profiling, so even just planning for that now, and that's just a double check. It's a blood test about 3 weeks pre-calving or pre-lambing, and it's a double check that the energy, protein and crucially at that time the mineral balance is right, and I think in some cases this year that probably has contributed, in some cases has contributed to increased assistances at calving. So there's things that we can do to tweak these systems and make them better. As I say, the long-term trend that it is coming down, and fantastic to see that, because nothing gives a calf a better start than an observed, unassisted calving standing by itself and drinking by itself. That's always really the target, beef and sheep. I think lambing generally has been quite good. The weather, it wasn't the spring that we had last year, was it? But it wasn't a bad spring either, so we were probably quite fortunate through weather. I think lamb survival rates have been quite good in most cases, but of course there's always exceptions, and if you have had a challenging year, it's definitely a good time, any time from now through to autumn, pre-breeding. We want to sit down and just review, right, where have issues been and what can we do. But on the whole, I think survival rates have been quite good this year, which is good. I was very interested and spent a lot of time talking about hygiene in the lambing shed for those of us that are doing an indoor type lambing. There was a very good paper came out just at the end of last year looking at joint ill in particular, but it really highlighted, they did a large review of several hundred farmers all talking about what they did at lambing time and what their joint ill rate was. And one of the strongest things that came through in terms of reducing risk for joint ill was hand hygiene, so washing hands and wearing gloves. And that's something I think we need to talk more and more about. It can be, there's cultural differences between our different lambing sheds, but remember, we're bringing a huge amount of very vulnerable animals into the world in a very short space of time, in a very intense environment, and we spread disease in that situation. So how clean are we in the lambing shed? How clean are our hands in particular? How often are we washing hands and putting gloves on for clean jobs like lambing the ewe, like fitting a tag, a rubber ring or a clip? These are all jobs where we should be thinking about wearing gloves. And if we're doing dirty jobs at that time, so that's trimming a foot or dagging a ewe, again, gloves on, because we don't want to be taking those bugs onto the vulnerable lambs thereafter. So I think those messages are getting through, but there's more to be done. We are still seeing joint ill cases, they're not uncommon. We can't prevent every one, but hand hygiene and gloves is probably a big part of it, as the usual things that we're all very familiar with, colostrum in particular, navel treatments and spraying early. We're here mid-June and peak summer. The first thing I would say for what to look out for now is how are you? And lambing is intense, calving is intense. A lot of field work, a lot of stock work, a lot of pressure. We put ourselves under pressure at those times. And have we had a break and a bit of recuperation time ourselves? Care fatigue is talked about a lot in all care professions. Farming, livestock farming is a care profession. And did we get time to recover? It's fine if we didn't. Lots of us will probably say, no, I didn't actually. But that isn't okay long term. So what can we change or do differently next year to remember that after that really busy spring period, that we ourselves get a recuperation point. And I think in terms of your stock health for the rest of the year, that is critical. You need to be well to be looking after your stock well. So have you had any recuperation time? And if you haven't, then what can we change next year to make sure you get it? It will make a big difference. If we think of sheep first, in terms of what risks are we facing now, so it just rolls on, doesn't it? We've just got them out the lambing shed alive, and now the next things. So nematodirus is probably peaked and past now. That's that early worm that can catch the young lamb out, white drench in on time. If you're in a colder area, then you may still have that ahead of you, so just the tail end of the nematodirus cases. But the peak gutworm season is now coming ahead very, very quickly. So number one, what is the pasture risk? Where your lambs are now ingesting quite a lot of grass, they're ingesting a lot of parasites. How much parasites is in that pasture? And that's to do with when was it last grazed by sheep, how many sheep were on it, how young were those sheep, and therefore how many worms are probably on that pasture. The pasture burdens are building now, and so we need to be keeping an eye on that. Various ways to monitor where your parasite burden is at, but the key message is the cheap wormers that work well, when we overuse them, the expensive disease gets a lot worse because the wormers stop working. So we must take steps in every farm to use less of the wormer so that they last a longer time in our own farm. We do that by monitoring and only using when they're absolutely necessary. Watching weight gains, if you've got tags in and you can look at individual weight gains, that is a fantastic way to do it. Watching, for scour and getting dirty at the back end is the traditional way, of course, and still a place for that. It's just good stockmanship. But also taking dung samples and getting worm egg counts in at least monthly from now through the rest of the summer. Our lambs should be getting a monthly group, pooled worm egg count just to check that they don't need a wormer. If we do decide we need a wormer for, poor weight gain, dirty bums or high egg count, then remember we don't need to worm now every single lamb. And as a rule of thumb, 1 in 10 don't need a wormer. So that's the strongest lambs, the single lambs, the ones that are clean, they're clearly thriving. Not worming them will let that worming product last a lot longer in your farm. So we should never really be worming all of our lambs at routine treatments now through the rest of this year. There's a few exceptions to that, speak to your own vet, but as a general rule we shouldn't be worming absolutely everything, even if we're worming 90%. So a big focus on parasites and parasite monitoring. Fly strike season's upon us as well, so that varies again depending on the wind and the shelter, and you'll know your own farm well, but just watching very, very closely. Ewes will be getting clipped. It's always a big relief to get the fleeces off their backs because that really reduces the risk, and just watching for dagging and dirt on the lambs and treating as early as possible. Early treatment makes a huge difference. It will save your lambs. We're into, unfortunately, losses through Clostridial disease and Pasteurella. Hopefully you're on a vaccine programme. There's an excellent article in the April FAS newsletter, so if you go back and find that, you'll find a great article on Clostridial and Pasteurella vaccine, so having a think about that. But if we're losing lambs unexpectedly, then please get them opened up and post-mortemed. There's too much value tied up in our stock now, cattle and sheep, to lose lambs at this time, good lambs at this time of the year. We need to find out why that is, so that if there's anything that can be done differently, we can put that in place in future. So cattle, yeah, it's time for watching, isn't it? All of the setup for spring breeding has really been done by now for most of us. Standard things for preparation, making sure nutrition's right on the cows. Anything that's had a hard calving or a caesarean has ideally had a vet check, and bulls have ideally been looked at well in advance of breeding, preferably with a semen check as well. So all the setup's been done, but now we're in the thick of it. These weeks now really set up the profitability of the system for the next 12 months. So it's good old-fashioned stockmanship and watching, particularly for first round repeats. Are we seeing those early served cows coming back around? And if we are, let's intervene just as soon as we can. That could mean getting the bull in and tested. I know that that's a difficult thing to do, but ignoring it now is very high risk, or bringing in, swapping bulls or bringing in an additional bull if needs be. So really close attention to bulling behaviour and hopefully seeing cows settling quickly. Weather-wise, it's every year is different. We have had some warm, dry summers recently. If we have another one of them as we go forward, then having a contingency plan. What is the contingency plan for feed? We need these females to be on a continuing good plane of nutrition to get them settled in calve. If grass dries up and burns off, and that'll be very farm specific, then what's the contingency? Where's the forage and the energy coming from for these cows during this critical breeding season? So having a contingency plan around that. Calves wise, similar to sheep, we really can't afford to lose calves at this stage, but we do. It's not uncommon to have a really decent calf found dead in the morning. It's a very upsetting thing, but don't let that go uninvestigated. There are several things, clostridial disease included, as well as some pneumonias and others that we need to get to the bottom of them. So if it happens, I hope it doesn't, if it happens, please have it investigated. There may be things that we can tweak going forward. And it's also curiosity season for young calves, so the spike in lead poisonings and other toxicities does come in now. These calves are extremely curious. It's gorgeous to watch them exploring and finding out all about their environment, but just be very, very careful. The classic thing is the old fencer battery that's been forgotten about in the dyke side, so probably worth, if you can just find yourself a spare 15 minutes, walk the boundaries of that park where the young calves are and make sure that there's nothing untoward. So it's also a good moment just to think about the end of breeding. So you know, tightening the calving pattern, it isn't for everybody, and you know, everyone, but there are strong financial incentives to do it. There's workload reasons to do it, and if it's desirable in your system, then it does take planning. How are we going to shave 1 or 2 weeks off the breeding season just to give ourselves that more compact calving, a little bit of a break in labour at a key time of year, as well as a more uniform calf crop, you know, come weaning time, and then the cyclicity of that. Remember, more fertile cows breed more fertile cows, so getting rid of those less fertile animals out of the system can be a big help. One problem we often come across at this is it's easy to say, well, I'll take the bulls out on the 15th of August, but it's much harder to say, well, where do those bulls go? And that can be a barrier, that having a safe place to put the bulls at that time of year can be a challenge. I heard of a really nice way of managing that in some places, which might work for yourself, and that is to, rather than remove the bulls, you do a PD on the 15th of August, or the day that you would ideally take the bulls out, pregnancy check the cows that day, and remove anything that's not obviously in calve. So with a scanner, that's usually down to about 4 weeks. Remove the females, those late bred females or empty females can come away, and that essentially stops breeding the same way. The bulls can stay with the settled cows, which eases management, as if we can find somewhere else for those empty cows to go to. Just bear in mind, those empty ones do need a second PD, so wait a month or 6 weeks and have them checked again, because some of them will have been in calve on that last days of breeding, just not detectable yet by the ultrasound scan. So it's food for thought. It won't work for everybody, but if moving the bulls is a problem, then think about doing an early PD and removing the empty cows or the late calving cows instead, and the pregnant ones can rejoin the main herd later. The other advantage of that is you will get more accurate aging of your fetus, so we can age the fetuses more accurately and just get a slightly better predictor of how your spring calving is going to go next year. So food for thought, but something that's been beneficial for some people. So lastly, as well, you know, when we get so immersed at lambing and calving time, it's you know, you're full throttle really on fire brigade work. That's farming and veterinary. It's just get the job done status. But we are now, you know, at a time in the year when hopefully we've just got a little bit more headspace and a bit more breathing space. Number one, as I say, take a rest. But when you're ready, it's a great time to sit down with your vet and look at your health plan again. We know health plans, you know, a lot of us, it's dictated by when our auditor is due in for our accreditation programme. We know now it's tied into the whole farm plan as a component of our funding. But fundamentally, the health plan is there to make sure that your business is gaining in profitability year on year and reducing risk year on year. And this is a fantastic time to do that. We can still remember the heartache and trials of lambing and calving. So if there are problems there that we could tweak or slightly improve, a great time to do it. And we're still ahead of the winter period. You know, the critical nutrition period, getting diets right, planning our PD day correctly. So there's plenty of forward planning that can be done now. So even if your plan isn't due, you know, for another period of time, if you've got if you're in the right frame of mind right now to take a one step back from your business and look at it, you know, with a bit more perspective, that's a fantastic time to do your health plan. It'll still last that 12, 13 months, so you still have a year then from there, and you're just doing it at a time of year where you're going to get more value from it for your business.
Calum Simpson, a 27-year-old member of Gerraghty Young Farmers, was named the SAYFC Young Farmer of the Year 2025 at the Scottish Agriculture Awards in October 2025. Winning Young Farmer of the Year for Calum is a celebration of his time in Young Farmers, but also a celebration of farming and the young people in the industry.
Hello, I'm Calum Simpson, this year's Young Farmer of the Year. We're here on the farm of Mains of Leslie in Aberdeenshire. Farm at home with my parents. We've got 150 suckler cows, 500 breeding ewes and about 200 acres arable. When I was still at secondary school, I was 13 and I was dying to go to Young Farmers. So when I turned 14, I was straight in there. And Gerraghty they were the best crowd to be with. The club has helped me from starting, for like talking to different farmers, from doing organising stock judgings, ploughing matches, to doing financial accounts for the treasurer role, and then taking on a chairman role as well, which that helped me for the confidence of actually having to stand up and talk to everybody. It's been a very good experience. Gerraghty itself lies in West Aberdeenshire, so there's 5 clubs in the district. We're right in the middle, so we've got Inverurie, Afford, Mid Deeside and Echt. We are very unfortunate not to have a secondary school in our area, which is very limiting on numbers for our members, but we're still striving with all our activities. So usually at the start of summer we have our new members barbecue. It happens annually to try and recruit new members, and we're always pleased to see new folk. When I was younger I was involved, but it was more, I took a back seat and went to stock judging, did all those activities. I have to put my hand up and say Sally's sister Ellen has pushed me pretty hard this last year or two, with her taking on a more national role, between thinking that I would be a great one for climbing the tree climbing poles at the Royal Highland Show for Battle of the Regions. She thought that Calum's the kind of person that would love to do it, and I won it. So she obviously knew how to pick that one right, and it was her that pushed me to do Young Farmer of the Year, because she thought you'll do a good job of it, so why not? So 2 years ago we got the fantastic opportunity to collaborate with East Aberdeenshire on reasons training for the Royal Highland Show. That was a really good experience on how to word how you're looking at a sheep or how you're looking at a cow, just to put it down on paper and then have the confidence to sell that's why you put that animals first or second. I've also been North Agri Chair, which we have organised 4 or 5 events throughout the year, and we've got a decent enough turnout to most of them. Middle of April last year, the Agri and Rural Affairs had their AGM. They've got a limited amount of representatives from each area, and then they have to vote for a chairperson within the region. So I was voted on for chairperson. Back when I was 14, I would never imagine myself being here with just not knowing the full potential of what Young Farmers could give me, because the Young Farmers has given me so much, from even just little things, confidence, being able to talk to a camera, to standing up and speaking in front of 100 people, and also given me the confidence. I went away to another country to work. Young Farmers has opened up so many different opportunities for me, from meeting new friends from all the way from Caithness all the way to Ireland. Exchangees we've had from Tasmania, Canada, and I would not be shy to go, if we landed on their doorstep, to go and knock and say hello. It's been great fun meeting great people. Young Farmers has also given me the opportunity to find my lifelong partner of Sally. It was in a dark shed in a barn dance. We would have probably met each other. Without Young Farmers, it would be a totally different way of life. It would have been a very isolating lifestyle. It gave you a reason to get changed, get dressed, and go out at night. Young Farmers is very important for the industry, for cultivating the next generation of farmers, to even get representatives to go into Parliament. Being part of the Agri and Rural Affairs Committee, we've been into the Scottish Parliament, but without it, the industry would be very different. Young Farmers has got so many different sides to it. Doesn't matter if you wear wellies, you can be part of Young Farmers. It can be from just seeing people once or twice a week, just to get out the door, change your headspace. Or you could be fully committed and go into a higher up role and enjoy it. The door's only open till you're 30, so you have to try and make the best of it while you've got that opportunity. The more you put in, the more you get out. So the Young Farmer of the Year, the start date was the Grampian Rally. So we had 6 activities. We had a quiz, we had a clip pigeon shooting simulator, and a feed identification, and driving a buggy, those kind of sorts of things. I was very fortunate to get the space from Grampian. There was 2 spaces for North, 2 from East, 2 from West. So the other North was from the Highland Rally. So from there we went down to the Kerr's family farm. So we got to figure out their operation and see how they farmed, and see how I was going to slip into their scenario for the 3-year business plan. So we came away from there on the basis of get a business plan written up, ready for going back, get it submitted, and then back down the day of the Scottish Farming Awards. So in the morning we were at Oatridge, so there was another full set of tasks again. So we had everything from changing a baler tine, to tractor driving, to fencing with the new Clip-X posts, and ATV services was there, so there was a quad bike handling, and Peter Miles was also doing sheep care. And then there was also, I forgot, that was all the activities. I forgot about the business plan. Get suited, get dressed, go in and tell them what you're going to do. So went from there to the Scottish Farming Awards that night, and I couldn't believe it when my name was read out for, as I'd won it. 20 minutes, half an hour after I had been on the stage, did my little interview, and got back on the bike, I was still shaking. So yeah, it was a phenomenal achievement. It hadn't really sunk in until the quad bike came home, and then it really sunk in of I've managed to achieve this phenomenal achievement. I'll never manage to do it again, but it'll be there every year. It's a great achievement for the club because I'm actually the second member to have won Young Farmer of the Year. So I took Gerraghty onto the map the second time. Daniel Skinner won it the first time, and I won it the second time. And it's a phenomenal achievement for Gerraghty, for being a small club of roughly 20 members, for 2 of them to be able to win Young Farmer of the Year. It's something phenomenal. So the night of the Scottish Farmer Awards, the quad bike was sitting in the corner, the prize for Young Farmer of the Year, kindly donated by ATV Services. After my name was announced on the screen, I went up and got my pictures. I was over to the quad bike to see the prize and get pictures with ATV Services, and yeah, I just couldn't believe that I'd managed to win it. The quad bike has been a massive help, just through the amount of hours I'm doing and either checking sheep, checking stock. It's a really useful piece of kit. So winning Young Farmer of the Year, it's been so beneficial because the quad bike, yes, everybody wins a quad bike, but the quad bike's been really beneficial to me, from making day-to-day life easier, and well, it's on its second lambing right now. It's been well used. It's a really useful piece of kit. I'd like to just take a wee second and thank my mentors, RBS, Johnston & Carmichael and Galbraiths. These 3 individuals helped me all along the way, from making sure my cash flows were good, from valuing all the land, my sheds, and making sure my accounts, making sure everything balanced. I wouldn't have managed without the knowledge that they provided and the time that they spared to give me.
I'm Sally Glennie, and I'm Calum's partner. I joined Vale of Appard Young Farmers when I was 14. Just heard about it from older friends and wanted to give it a go. So when I joined Young Farmers when I was 14, I didn't quite realise what I could get from it. And as I've progressed through from club to district, regional, national, the best thing I've probably got out of it is friends up and down the country. Started off with the ladies convener role in the club, before progressing to minutes secretary and then secretary of the club. And then went on and did assistant secretary and secretary of West Aberdeenshire District. And just a fortnight ago at the Agri and Rural Affairs National Assembly, I took on the North Agri chairperson role from Calum. So I've been involved in a variety of competitions through Young Farmers, stock judgings, ploughing matches, handicrafts, industrial, overwintering competition. So each competition has given me something different, from learning how to work with animals, kind of what to pick out in an animal, and then how to sew, how to bake. Yeah. So I met Calum at a Young Farmers barn dance, and the rest kind of history. But yeah, I met a lot of people up and down the country, networked with a lot of people, and know a lot of people that have met their partners through Young Farmers as well. So I watched Calum put a lot of work into the Young Farmer of the Year, especially the business plan. A lot of evenings he'd come home and have a supper and then go up to our spare bedroom, and I wouldn't see him again. I'd wake up the next morning and not know what time he came to his bed. Watched him pulling his hair out over different bits of it. So it came to the awards ceremony and I just said, let's just go and get dressed up and enjoy our meal and the night. And when Calum read out his name, I couldn't believe it. Just, yeah, really proud, very proud. I was not only proud for Calum winning the award, but also proud that he was taking it back north. Ellen jokingly said the night before we left to go to the awards, if you don't win it, don't come home. So yeah, just proud to take it home and to the north. And there's a saying going just now, forget the rest, the north is best. So yeah. Young Farmers isn't just for those that wear wellies. You can get so much from it because there's such a variety of competitions, a lot of opportunities. I'm travelling to Switzerland in August to attend the Rural Youth Europe Rally. So I just encourage anyone to give it a go. For the people you meet, the things you get to do, the opportunities I've had that I would have never had if I wasn't a young farmer.